Welcome to the finals of the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League, the 54th edition. This particular series was played yesterday, and first off, in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the Red Terran SCVs in game number 1 on the map Oceanborn, we have none other than Clem. Now Clem, you may have noticed he's in a different team, the 430 milliseconds clan or team or whatever you want to call it. Not entirely sure what that is all about. He's also not got his C capitalized in his nickname. Plus, there's no polar bear spinning around on the main command center. Reason being is that Clem is apparently currently over in Korea. I'm not sure why, but I guess this is his Korean account. His opponent in his best of 5 series. Well, he's got himself spinning around on the main hatch with the blue Zerg pieces. We're looking at none other than Dark's main base. Clem going up against Dark, this time around with basically no ping. These two, they obviously do face off against each other from time to time, but I always feel like Clem is especially good when there's basically no delay. Terrans in general, they obviously micro their units a ton. The splits are very difficult to do when you are on a bit of a delay. So even though his clan apparently says 430 ms, 430 milliseconds, that is not quite the case. No, I think if he plays from France and he plays on the Korean server, yes. Then I guess everything is delayed by almost a half second. But that should not be the case in this particular series. So pretty exciting actually. I don't really know why Clem is over there. I don't know, maybe just practicing. Obviously the World Cup is coming up, so maybe it's nice to do a little bit of dedicated practice over in Korea, where in general the player base is incredibly good. Nice to get a bit of variety too, right? Because if there's one criticism you can maybe have of Clem is that maybe he's a bit weaker against the Koreans. He's very good against the European and the North American styles, but maybe that's actually the reason. You know what, thinking about it, talking about it, yeah, Clem does sometimes lose against the top tier Koreans, and I guess if you go to Korea to practice with them, you may be able to also figure them out a little bit better. Dark, I mean, playing at everything, as per usual, fresh off of a GSL Code S win. He's been ridiculously good for a long time, and he's gonna get his 3rd base block. Now, those are the sorts of things when you are on 430 ping, right? If you do have a ping that's ridiculously high, that's gonna be pretty much impossible to pull off, which really changes the momentum of the game a lot. So already nice little mental edge right here for Clem. He's gonna be able to keep that base pinned back at least for a little while longer. The Zerglings in the meantime did go across. They're looking to see if they can kill the SCV that's building the CC. But that is not going to be the case. Link speed is only about halfway done. So the Reaper coming home is a very real threat for these bad boys. Yeah. Scatter, quick! Kill whatever you can! Nice grenade right there. But I think ultimately, oh, he's dead. Poor guy. Poor guy. At least the Reaper will be able to get revenge. 4 Zerglings, 1 drone. I don't think that's a bad start. No, I think that's actually pretty good. Alrighty, 3rd hatchery, of course, was planted down in the meantime on the other side of the map. Starport is coming up here for Clem, who is not going for the quick 3rd command center. So this is the straight 1-1-1 here. So 1 barracks, 1 factory into a starport. And then usually we will see a 3rd command center building right over here at the front to complete the wall off, or you could still plant it in the main base as well. But this means that Clem certainly is looking to deal some sort of damage in the earlier stages. If you delay your 3rd command center in favor of a faster starport, you really have to get... Yeah, you have to deal some sort of damage, I think. Very difficult to just continue playing here and not really get anything done. Even just forcing out a lot of units, though, from the Zerg can sometimes be enough. Dark using those extra minerals that he's been banking up right now to just make extra queens. So he's got 5, he's building 2 more. He actually cancelled 1 additional one, or maybe it just finished. Oh, yeah, there it is. He's actually hit a small little supply block, but he does want to go all the way up to about 8 queens for now. Which is going to be really good against what Clem is cooking up. So it's going to be Hellions together with Banshees. The creep spread is a little mediocre. I would love to see that Overlord move a little further forward as well, if we are nitpicking. Dark apparently agrees as far as the creep spread goes. Oh, a couple queens actually stuck behind their own creep tumors. But they will be okay here in the end. Alrighty, now spores are coming. Usual timing for those is about 4:35, 4:40 or so, depending on the execution of the Terran. That means that the Banshee cloaking is going to finish up, since Dark was a little bit later than that. The Banshee cloaking does finish up before the Spore Crawlers do. Dark was actually putting his opponent right here on a Liberator transition as the Zerglings go across the map. So do the Hellions. And right from the get-go, we've got a lot of aggression. Dark just taps out. He realizes that he's not going to be able to kill enough SCVs on the other side of the map, and he's going to lose a ton of drones at home. And just like that, we find ourselves on Alcyone. Yeah, sometimes high-level StarCraft, it keeps going and going and going, where both players just don't really achieve that much, and ultimately the game goes to distance. And at other times, we have a match like the one that we just saw. That's what the average ladder heroes game looks like, right? If you try to rank up in StarCraft 2, the vast majority of your games are going to be under 10 minutes. I think actually the average game of StarCraft 2 on the ladder is probably under 10 minutes. Just because staying alive turns out to be very, very difficult. Bit of a misread right there, though, from Dark. So his Spore Crawler timings and the Spore Crawler positionings, it was all a big indication, right? That he assumed it was going to be a triple command center opener into a delayed starport, meaning that it was likely going to be a Liberator follow-up. So Dark just making the assumption that Clem was going to play the build that Clem always plays. Well, Clem kept him honest. Immediately managed to get a win on the board. Okay, Alcyone in general, not that much different, I guess, compared to, well, Oceanborn. Obviously, the map layout is different, but you can pull off very similar strategies overall, especially in the earlier stages of this matchup. So we'll have to see a little bit of a cleaner early game from Mr. Dark. Then again, it's Dark. I know I say that all the time, but last time around I saw Dark playing Mass Muta against somebody who was going Thors, Widow Mines, and Marines, and he still made that one work, which in theory is just not really that great of a play. But sometimes Dark does these things that technically are suboptimal, just to try and, well, force the issue, I guess, and maybe keep the opponents guessing a little bit more as well. Alrighty, so we should see a third hatchery here nice and quickly once again. SCV is going to try and block it. There is another third base option. It looks like a drone is indeed heading on over in that direction. This time around, at least, the worker will stay alive. And the third hatch should be coming up here in just a moment. He really wants to take it over here. He's going to now sec that drone in favor of a little bit of damage on Steve. Steve died in the previous game, but I think this Steve will fare a little bit better. Yeah. I'm going to keep my eye out on Steve. Do you think Steve is going to get a nice little repair after his adventures out on the Zerg side of the map? I feel like the scouting SCV, he deserves it, right? This guy put his life on the line just to try and get a little bit of intel. Even fought one of those drones straight up. And then he comes home, nobody says hello. Nobody even waves. Not even like a little head nod. Nothing like that. I don't even think, no, it's never going to get a repair. Yeah. What we deserve and what we ultimately get, usually not the same. No. Like sometimes I ask people to like my videos. Guess what? Sometimes I deserve it. I think actually all the time I do. But yeah, it's not always what I get. Sorry, worst sellout ever. That wasn't Steve, that was one of his little brothers. Hellions are forced to come back home. A fresh one just spawned out of the factory. And a Liberator will indeed be on the back of this. Interestingly enough, it's again not a quick triple CC opener. So Clem just going for a lot of unit production. We should see the green light turn on here. There it is. Stimpack is coming. Clem is going to be playing a very normal game here once again, albeit one with a lot more early game aggression. So to clarify, this is the build that Terrans used to play for years. The timing to look for usually as a Zerg player is the third command center between 4:20 and 4:30. Now, we did already see Dark sacrifice the Overlord, but that gives you a confirmation as to what sort of aggression to expect from the Terran player. Dark, though, just blindly making a Spore right now. The third, obviously, is in a bit of a funky position here compared to where it normally is. Lack of creep spread once again. Now the Lip shows up. It's gonna slow down the mining here a little. Yeah, so you have to justify going for a later third command center like this. If you go Elion Banshee with triple CC before the starport, you can still get away with quite a lot. Like, there's not really a lot of Zerg pushes that can really hurt you, because the Banshees obviously are really good. And they can shut down most Roach aggression, that sort of thing. Once again, Clem actually threatening to run by into the natural expansion. It's funny. Making Dark sweat for just a little bit, at least. Did the Liberator go down? Nope, the Liberator's still here. He's gonna try and go around and be a little bit annoying on the other side. Dark's gonna go for double Evo before Lair, before Baneling Nest. That means he will probably go melee and Carapace upgrades and then go into a Lair and a Baneling Nest on the back of it. Main problem you can run into as a Zerg with this opener is that your Baneling speed is late. Baneling speed is a... there it is. Baneling speed is a pivotal upgrade for defending a lot of Terran aggression. Especially when your creep is a little bit lackluster. You really are reliant on that Bane speed, and there are certainly just very standard pushes that Clem can go for that would really hurt. So we have 1-1 coming up. We have Stimpack already done, combat shields on the back of it. These upgrades should finish up right around the same time. It would certainly not be a bad moment for Clem to maybe test the waters a little bit on the other side of the map. Extra barracks coming up. Okay. Clem already actually experimenting with different styles here. I would imagine that's the reason he went to Korea. Just get a little bit of that Korean flavor, you know? See what they like to do, because they certainly do play the game generally a bit more aggressively. This looks like a Maru, or like a... no, more like a Bjorn opener, I guess. I've got 2 Medivacs! Let's go! I've got units, let's go! We should scan over here, though. Can we please scan? Okay. If we're not gonna scan, yeah, now we scan. Here's the Zerglings already running in. I do like the fact that the Hellions are still around. We can at least send a couple of the units towards the other side of that mineral wall. But ultimately, that's a pretty easy cleanup right there for Dark. Keep in mind again that Dark... ooh, he still hasn't started a lair? Wow. Oh no, he's finished it. I was gonna say, that'd be insane. I missed it on the production tab. He really needs to fire up the Baneling speed. There he goes. Together with the Infestation Pit. Or the Hydra Den. Both are good options. I thought for a second he was still not at lair tech. That would have been a very significant problem. But yeah, if you would have covered up these player nicknames, the build in game number 1, very much so a Bjorn build. The build right now in game number 2, and the way that he's playing, very much so a way that, yeah, Bjorn likes to perform as well. Pretty neat. Sadly here for Clem, though. Dark's got a lot of practice against Bjorn. They play at least a series every week. Maybe not quite that often, but they do play against each other quite frequently. Alrighty. 4th command center, about 80% of the way done. Looks like it's gonna be pure Hydraling Bane here for the Zerg for now. Very powerful timing attacks can come out of Hydraling Bane. But at the same time, look at Jimmy over here. My god. Absolute Giga Chad. Oh! The Baneling speed finished up right in the middle of that fight. Anyways. You can go for some really nice timing attacks here as the Zerg, but it tends to fizzle out. So Hydraling Bane is really strong until you get to a Terran player who has 3-3 up. Oh my, okay. We were just not paying attention because a Ling Bane run by is happening over at the 3rd base as well at the same time. Good splits over here, at least, by Clem, who actually minimizes the losses, but he did take quite a bit of damage in the top left-hand corner. Although, actually, that fight still went reasonably well. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 coming up as well for Terran. We'll have to see if he even bothers going into Ghosts here. Look at him, so aggressive. Transfusion on a Hydralisk to try and keep that around. Clem trades in the French cheeses, the camembert, the bread. He trades all of the croissants. He trades all of that in for a little bit of Korean barbecue, bit of kimchi, and suddenly we are going ham. He's just constantly pushing. Here we go again, expecting a base over here. Look at him. He's disappointed. You were supposed to take that base. Instead, Dark is taking a base on the mirrored location on the other... Well, not really mirrored, I guess. But in the opposite location on the other side of the map. Okay. Widow memes? Nice split right there by Dark, considering he did not see that until the last possible second. So here's the upgrades I was trying to bring up. +3/+3. Would love to see that as well here for Clem as soon as it is something he can return to. But these upgrades make Hydraling Bane very difficult to scale into the late game. We did see an Infestation Pit. We should probably see a Hive here as well for Dark in a moment. Because, yeah, he cannot really continue playing Hydraling Bane unless he plans on winning the game in the next couple minutes. But I don't think he can. Yep, so it's gonna be Lurkers on the back of this. Lurkers, a bunch of expansions, and a whole lot of control on the map. Sorry, Brenda. Brenda just freshly cooked up a nice little creep tumor. Ooh. Nice little bit of hold positioning there as well from Dark. So now this committed strategy, though, from Dark can actually backfire quite a bit. He's trying to get those Widow Mines to deal friendly fire. A couple of Marines coming in as well with the flank. Clem's looking absolutely lethal. I'm hard-pressed to really find any mistakes. Other than that one time he didn't pay attention to his army. Obviously, there's lots of little improvements you can make in these fights, but... this is very well handled. He's going Ghosts before there's even any Hive tech. So any follow-up aggression right now from Dark. So Dark likes to go Nidus Worm together with, well, a bunch of Lurkers, right? He likes to send those towards the main base or something. There will be Ghosts out and Liberators to try and defend against that. Do we have a second starport already? No, we only have one starport. We do have 3 command centers, though, on the back of this as well. Infestor's coming here for Dark too. So he's really trying to slow the game down. But Clem is having none of it. Nicely defended as well, though, so far by the Zerg. Trying his best to stay alive. His economy is still good enough. Marauders in the front. Ghosts do get picked up, at least some of them. I think this might be a bit of an overextension, though, by Clem. But he can continue trading here quite comfortably, because it's not like he is having a bad economy or anything. He's making so many command centers. He's got 81 SCVs, which is identical to the number of drones of Dark. Yeah, ultimately I think he will get pushed back. He knows as well, though, that the more time he gives the Zerg, the more Lurkers there will be out. Lurkers already have their ranged upgrade. Their burrow upgrade is researching right now. We haven't really seen any Lurkers yet, but it'll be something he starts cooking up here very soon, I'm sure. Look at the Widow Mines as well, though. We don't really see a ton of Widow Mine play as of late, but... ever since it got nerfed, a lot of Terrans believe that it's not that good of a unit to play anymore, but... they still seem very effective here so far. There's the classic 1-2 punch, though, for Dark. Lingbane Hydra at the front, Lurkers in the back. Fungal. Fungal! Yep. Yeah, it's difficult to stay out on the map and make this much economy on the back of it. I think actually Clem got a little bit carried away. He's doing a bit of a Widow Mine drop in the meantime on the other side of the map. But he's making so many command centers that being that deep onto the creep and trading relatively well, but not amazing, is a little bit dangerous. Oh, Infestors! Oh, get them all! Huge. Personally, I always use the O army hotkey, so that never is a problem for me, you know? Leaving infestors behind like that. Although I keep pulling away my Zerglings from watchtowers. Is that a problem? Nah. Nah, it's not a problem. Totally fine. Alrighty, how many command centers do we have? We are up to 6 orbitals right now. Terrans usually will aim for about 10. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Depends on how many times you want to... Right? The sounds of Terran late game. Clem is making a literal minefield though, all over the map. Dark's just sending in Zerglings. In the meantime, there is a lurker counter. Oh, hello. I was gonna say, I think you just burrow right here. Nidus Worm to try and bring them back home. Here come, yeah, the mass repairs. I mean, we can kill this, I think. But that's real. Oh, he doesn't even get it. Oh, that's so costly. Woo! Jeez. He doesn't even get the command center there in the end. I mean, he may have gotten one that was building, but... Zergling counterattack is likely going to achieve more than those lurkers. But my god, was that a lot of losses right there for Dark. That was very committed. This is not a game where Dark has got resources to spare. It's not even maxed out right now. I actually think even if he would have gotten the command center, it would still not be worth it. Because there are so many CCs ready to replace it. Usually, from this position, the Terran army is gonna get better. Because Liberators will be mixed in. Whereas Zerg is gonna make more of the same. So I'm always a little... on the fence about this stage for Zerg. I feel like that attack was supposed to do more. Like, at this point, Dark is okay. But it's not like his army is going to improve much. Whereas Clem is still gonna, like, get a significant power spike in his army. There's the advanced ballistics. There's the ghost cloaking. Rarely do I see games like this, where eventually the Zerg then ends up coming out ahead, if that makes any sense. So he's gonna go for Infestors and Vipers. He's actually lost all of the Infestors and never rebuilt them, so we have one Viper. Parasitic Bombs is nice, I guess, but there's no siege tanks to Blinding Cloud. Since obviously there's Widow Mines, and Widow Mines are considered spellcasters. They ignore Blinding Clouds. They magically can see through it. I think Clem is thinking the same thing right now. He's like, lol, I don't need to do much, baby. We'll just sit around here, deny some bases, mine whatever we can. Up until this point, there is an even amount of mining for the Terran as there is for the Zerg, which works out for Clem just fine. Keep in mind that Clem has invested a lot of that advantage into command centers. He's doing more of it. So the resources in the bank right now are not really indicative of where the game is really at. Like, Clem has saved for his kids to go to college and any other emergencies that might be popping up. Whereas Dark right now has been avoiding going to the dentist for a while already. But he might be okay. Gonna burrow the lurkers inside of the main base. The distraction here with the Zerg army has been successful. If you can catch a bunch of those Marines off guard, maybe get a lucky bailing hit, that'd be really good. I mean, this section of the map is tough for the Terran to break. Exactly why Liberators can be so handy. Viper ultimately doesn't achieve that much. Maybe it got an abduction off, maybe a parabomb or something like that. This is a really nice play here, though, from Dark. Considering we're in desperate times. Here's Brenda. Brenda, Karen, Margaret come in as well. Throw around some transfusions. Yeah, this is when you know things are desperate, but they keep each other and some of the lurkers alive. Another Nidus Worm just for style points. You can see that Clem is struggling though, keeping this base alive. Dark would love to flood around the map right now with more and more units. but he simply doesn't have the cash. So he's killed a command center with a couple of Zerglings. Terran was very busy, focused on the main base. Yeah, imagine that exact same move, but then, you know, Dark playing a little bit better before this point, or at least having more efficient trades. The amount of aggression he could have done at the same time at the front would have been amazing. So never count somebody like Dark out, but that was effectively an all-in. Whereas Clem, yeah, he may have lost some new commands, or he may have lost some command centers, but he's building more. The Iron Bank continues. Great splits here, though, by Dark. I always feel like Dark plays better when he's behind. You smack the man in the face a couple of times, he gets some adrenaline going, and suddenly Dark's like, wait a second. That's him tearing out of his shirt. Becoming full Super Saiyan. His hair is going blonde. The thing is, though, Clem is gonna sit back here some more and remax. Now, he doesn't have vision of that corner of the main base that he just got punished by pretty hard. Yeah, here we go again. It's actually a little sloppy by Clem. There's no reason why he doesn't have vision of that section of the main. Okay. Yeah. So a little bit of sloppiness here from Clem. And obviously these solutions for him are very easy comparative to the ones that the Zerg would have to make to play a game like this a little bit better. All Clem really lacked there was a bit of vision inside of the main base twice. I would hope for him he doesn't make that mistake again, but you know what? We can park a Widowmine there or something, man. This is giving Dark a chance, though. We have a hatchery now in the top left-hand corner. Widowmine just walked over here. Liberator going around. Creep spread also looking quite a bit better again. Here come the lurkers in the bottom right-hand corner. They can't shoot up, though. Oh, they want to wait for the Nidus to be done, but upon seeing the amount of army, maybe there was a bit of an engagement over here, too. Dark decides to tap out. Nah, I don't think there was actually anything super significant here that happened. Nope. Dark just sees where this game is going. He gave it his all. But ultimately, Clem is gonna get the 2-0 lead. Dynasty, Dynasty, Dynasty. The map where Terrans love playing against Zerg. Many choke points. A gold base that is relatively easy for the Terran player, but very difficult for the Zerg. This right here is Terran heaven. I haven't looked at the stats since last time I looked at the stats. Which is a way in which I could describe many things. Right now, the statistics for this map, at the tournament level, 74% of the pro games go in favor of Terran versus Zerg. That's insane. That's slightly better than last time. I think last time I was closer to like 80%. But the fact that it's like, yeah, most maps obviously should be about 50-50. Maybe all the way up to like 55-45, something like that. You will see Terran players, Zerg players, Protoss players veto maps when they're like 50, 54, 53% in favor of the opponent. 75-ish% in favor of one race is nuts. It is kind of ridiculous. So 3 out of 4 games played at the pro level of this matchup go in favor of Terran. So certainly, Clem's map pick. Ready to bring it home. 3-0. Honestly, so far, he's looking insanely good. We've seen a couple of little slip-ups. The Nidus Worms, I guess, caught him off guard, but game number 1 was extremely dominant. Game number 2 was honestly extremely dominant, too. It's just that he made a couple of beauty errors. But other than that, hard to fault the man. Here we go. Zerg is gonna go for a natural expansion in the conventional spot. In the meantime, Clem is like, yo, don't mind if I do. Got myself some nice, juicy, golden minerals. Obviously, Zerg's gonna harass this, though. So, roaches here in the back, for example, quite good. But of course, it's quite difficult for Zerg to really commit to that roach army, because if you commit to it and well, suddenly your opponent is opening up quick benchies or something like that. Even a siege tank or two can cover things quite well. It's very quickly, I guess, gonna turn into an all-in, which is usually what Zerg players don't want to do unless they really want to commit to an all-in. So either you commit to killing that gold base or you just sort of let the Terran player have it. Both places, both decisions are quite risky. At this point, Dark will have realized that the natural expansion with the blue mineral line has not been taken. So he should know that the golden base will be mined instead. Third base does start up. Dark will likely be taking this as his fourth. I do love the progression on this map. Even though the win-loss ratio is sadly not as good as I would like it to be. I think the way that this map is being played is actually really fun. Because for the longest time, Zergs would go for the gold base first. But now apparently Dark is purposefully trying to expand in the opposite direction. To take that base a little bit later and make use, of course, of the rich Vespene geyser too. We've seen Zerg players take the natural over here, but also on the other side as their very first base. We've seen this as like a very first base for a little bit, which was horrible. Anyways, it's fun to see the different expansion patterns on a map like this. They have a little bit more... Ooh, nice snipe, really good snipe there. I think actually sacrificing the Reaper for a creep tumor here is good. Anyways, it's nice to have like... more of like a lifespan on the maps, if that makes sense, you know? Like a map like Side Delta, a map like Oceanborn, all very good. But we all know what to expect. He got the second creep tumor as well. Woo! Clem is cooking right now. This is actually really bad for... Oh, even Brenda got hit right there by Karen for a little bit. Typical Karen. Attempt number 3 at a single creep tumor. It's bad because any aggression here from Clem is going to be coming through, well, one of these paths, right? So getting the creep out there is absolutely critical. And so far, Dark is not really getting anything going so far really in this series. So we do have a third command center quite a bit quicker. Probably due to those golden minerals. It's about a 4-minute or so third CC, even though it's a 1-1-1. Second barracks on the back of this too, together with the third. So it will be a transition towards bio. But honestly, let's see. Can Dark even hold all of this aggression? Banshees with cloak. Hellions with flames. Not blue flames, just regular yellow ones. Okay, we do have spore crawlers coming up. So at least there will be detection and vision. A couple drones present themselves to the Hellions, but only 2 of them end up going down. Banshee is flying through all of the queens. Obviously Dark can see the little blur, but I don't think he noticed until just now. Okay, well that was actually a little unlucky there for Clem. He bruises 4 of those drones, but he gets no kills. It's 2 hits for a Banshee to kill them. Oh, never mind. Never mind, guys. He's here to finish the job. Nicely done. In the meantime, the Hellions are fighting here at the front. Looks like a single creep tumor has gone down. Yeah, this is rough. Oh, Dark also miscued the upgrades. A mistake rarely seen at the pro level these days. But he's been under so much pressure that he quickly selected the Evo chambers, and rather than control clicking or double clicking them and just hitting both of the hotkeys for the upgrades, he queued up Carapace and Melee in one Evo chamber. Maybe he notices now? Oh, he noticed. Okay, yeah. Upon starting the lair, he noticed that something was off. So that's actually really good for him, because that is one of the worst ways to lose a game. Those upgrades are so important that when you spend the resource and you're like, okay, let's start 2-2. Wait a second. Why did +1 just finish and the other one just start? Rah! It's an experience that every StarCraft player have had. Ah! Sorry, I won't do that again because it's annoying. One more time? Ah! Okay, I'm done. Alright, Mailing Nest. A lair coming up. Ultimately, all of this early game shenanigans, it's been good for Clem. But I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world here for Dark. We are once again going to see follow-up attacks, but as soon as Dark finishes bailing speed, the game should be reasonably playable for him. We need to see that upgrade ASAP though. ASAP though. ASAP though, there we go. It will just be Zerglings and slow Banes for now, a bunch of Queens as well, And obviously this map, right, one of the reasons why it's so good for Terran is that there's a ton of choke points, a lot of good spots to be hiding your siege tanks. Clem will continue the aggression. This is a relatively early push though. But he's finished up 1-1. He's finished up Stimpec. Combat shields is about 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds away. Clem right now with a supply lead. I think that basically tells you all you need to know. Hydra then on the back it is here for Dark. The queens are just marching around on the creep. I mean, the more we march around here, the easier it's going to be for Dark to clean this up. Although reinforcements are coming. He's already set up the units actually over here to try and deal with a Zergling surround. No link surround attempt here though from Dark. They would have run straight into the Hellbats. He's just making sure that there's no additional creep threat coming up. +2 starts up as well for the Terran. Banelink speed is finishing up. Centrifugal hooks. 1 second. Alright. So let's see. Let's dance. I don't see how Dark is going to be able to clean this up. I mean, it's manageable, mostly because a lot of the Terran units are on the other side of the map. But if these reinforcements arrive, I think they will. It is so difficult for Zerg to clean this up. No way for him to spread the creep, no way for him to set up surrounds. He can't knock down these rocks to make the fight easier either. Right now, his best bet is to try and get a little lucky. I mean, it's not like Clem is achieving a lot here so far. Yet. He is obviously macroing as well in the meantime at home. Command center turning into a planetary fortress on the low ground. Sending in a couple additional units as well. I love the patience here from Clem. Look at him. He's treating the entire map like his main base. Okay. Well, here's apparently the moment where Dark pulls the trigger. Does he have enough? Splits here from Clem have been good enough. Not amazing, but good enough. Yeah, the siege tanks are gone. Actually, heads off right here to Dark. The fact that he did not fall for the trap right there, even though Clem was basically inviting him for like seven minutes, or at least that's what it felt like. Yeah, that Widowmine is a traitor. That Widowmine is a traitor. Most of the blood here on the ground is those little Widowmines betraying the Terran Dominion. Good thing they recently nerfed the splash damage, eh? Would have been worse for Clem. Thank Blizzard for the Widowmine nerf. Yeah, sometimes Widowmines are one of the most helpful units for the Zerg player. You know what? I think that may have just been enough for Dark. Now that he's pushed back that Terran army, he can start spreading some creep around. He keeps the expansion alive here at the bottom of the map as well. Creep spread in the middle and at the bottom is still good enough. Okay. We have a Lurker then, together with a Hive coming. Clem in the meantime, has he got a Ghost Academy? Am I blind? No, he does not yet have a Ghost Academy. Okay. Clem is ready though to start playing the long game as he goes back up north once more in that exact same position. Oh, the Widowmines! Okay. Jeez. The aftermath is not pretty. I actually think the longer that this goes, the better it's gonna be right now for Dark though. I don't really... I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's difficult for Clem to take these expansions. This base should be an easy one to deny for now. And obviously, even though Terran siege tanks, right, they really benefit in those choke points and whatnot, it's difficult for Zerg usually to fight that with a Ling Bane-based army. Lurkers obviously have the same benefit. So if you get a bunch of Lurkers around and position them in choke points as well, maybe a few Vipers to abduct a bunch of Terran units or throw them around the map, this is manageable. I wouldn't be surprised actually if the game goes a little bit longer, that it might be a bit more favored for the... Well, not favored for the Zerg, but a little better for the Zerg overall. I think Dark may have actually survived the scariest part of this match. Let's see. Now he's still playing against Clem, though, who's got a ridiculous economy. Who's building up the command center count. He's going into 3-3. He's now going Ghosts. We'll probably see a Liberator transition, too. If Dark has any say in the matter, he would like to prevent the game from going there in the first place. Bio Army is forced to retreat, except for these guys. Okay. Dark actually manages to strike back for what seems to be the first time in this series. Just a small group of units. At least the Hydra's all lived, right? A relatively small group of units. Distraction at the bottom. Finally manages to get a small victory here. Okay. Got the Lurker upgrades coming. Adrenal Glands on the production tab. +3/+3 is going to finish up in a moment here for the Terran player. Sniped one of the Lurkers, gets out. Here comes the Swarm once again, though. Yeah, a couple Banelings, couple Zerglings. Lurkers in the mix. Hydras over here to shoot down whatever they can. Widowmines could potentially be dealing friendly fire again, but good retargeting there from Clem. A lot of the units over here at the front, though, in the meantime, also being annoying. Marines and Marauders come stimming back home to try and save all of this. 20 SCVs go down. Now there's additional Lurkers building inside of the natural expansion of the Terran. Okay, decides to cancel them because that was a little bit overly aggressive with more Terran units popping down the ramp. The surround prepared to be set up as well. I wouldn't mind seeing Dark go home here. I feel like going in from two angles is a little dangerous. Okay, decides to fight this backwards. Fair enough. Command center building on position? Really, Clem? A little overly ambitious there. Another command center does go down. Obviously, those golden minerals are running out, so that's another opener into the main base. Huh. There is an expansion here at the 6 o'clock position that I don't think Dark realizes exists. Oh, he does know. He's just choosing to ignore it. This game has just been flipped upside down. It was looking amazing. Oh, GG is called. Yeah, it was looking amazing for Clem in the first 10 minutes or so, but Dark managed to turn it around. Nice. Site Delta is going to be our 4th game. Didn't look like we were gonna get a 4th game, but yet here we are. Alright, Dark. What are we gonna do? Alright, Clem, what are we gonna do? A low ground wall-off? I mean, I did already mention that Clem was playing like Björn. I would imagine a couple of barracks on the low ground is a... Yeah, that is something Björn loves to do. There are, of course, all sorts of aggression and all kinds of all-ins that you can commit to. I mean, if I was Dark, I don't think I would pull anything like that off. Mostly because he's seen Banshees in pretty much every game. And most of the Banshee timings, especially the ones when you go for a 1-1-1, before a 3rd command center, they will shut down all of the Roach all-ins that you can go for. But this is Dark. I believe that's basically all the information you truly need. Barracks right over here on the low ground. How many do we make? Do we go for a 3rd? Don't think so. Should just be a good old double Rex right here for Clem. So 3 to 5 Reapers usually. 2 technically also possible. Depends on whether or not the Zerg goes for a quick 3rd hatch, which most of the time they will. 3 is, however, the gold standard, so if unsure, usually Terrans will go for 3 of those bad boys. Yep, there's number 2. There's the hatchery finishing up in the meantime at home for Dark. And he's already sending drones on down towards the low ground since the main base fully saturated. He's gonna arrive at 100 gas here in just a moment. Usually you pull 2 to 3 drones out of gas at that point. There's 1, there's 2. Okay. And then we have enough for the Zergling speed. Drone is gonna hide over on the right side of the map as the Reaper is coming in. Dark's timing over here obviously is really good. There should be 4 Zerglings in total. There are 4 Lings in total. Zergling 5 and 6 just about to spawn. That's a Korean move. Just try and save those drones. But against a double Rex opener like this, it is certainly not a bad idea to add some more in the mix. We're actually going 5 Reapers. I don't like 5 Reapers so much over here. Unless he can get the kill on the 3rd hatch. Zergling's already going around the left side of the map too. Actually, Dark may be giving up the 3rd hatch, since he's seen the additional production. Reactor and Tech Lab coming up right now. Clem not having any units on the back of this. No Marines or anything behind any of this. The 3rd hatch is going to take a lot of damage, but you know what? Sometimes the best defense is to go on the offense. Okay, he's got to get the kill on the base. Or the council on the base, but in the meantime, Dark managed to get the council on the reactor. Reapers are going to go back home. Yeah, and this is usually why we don't see. He's actually parking a Zergling over here, so that little add-on cannot be restarted. He's basically completing the wall off for the Terran player. But this is one of the reasons why normally we go 3 Reapers rather than 5. A cheeky little Ling run by. It's almost a bit out of character. Oh, GG. Dark gets another win. Amphion. Final game in this best of 5 series. Final game in this finals. I got myself a little bit more coffee. I don't know exactly what the plans are for this particular match. I don't think Dark was really meaning to win the game, but he saw an opportunity and he immediately took it. Even though I think Clem overall has been playing better StarCraft throughout this series, you can tell that Dark is somebody who will take an opportunity with both hands. We saw it in game number 2 in Alcyone. Cheeky little Nidus Worm still makes the game insanely close. Clem's lead at that point, though, was a little bit too big and won the 3rd game. Actually, was that? No, that was game number 2, yeah. Anyways, long story short, what I'm getting at is that Dark is not somebody who needs to be told twice. Amphion. Another little bit of a tricky map. Let me look up the win-loss ratio of this map real quick for this particular matchup. Yeah, so this map has a roughly 54% advantage for the Terran. Overall, this is usually a Zerg veto, because it's quite rough against Protoss, also a little rough against Terran, but gotta choose your poison in the current map pool. But we've already seen that Dark is not somebody to underestimate. Managed to win Dynasty. He can certainly win Amphion as well. Okay. What was previously looking, though, like a clean 3-0 win for Clem, now suddenly has become, yeah, a series where he could get reverse sweeped, which is probably the worst thing that you want as a, yeah, that's not the last thing that you're looking for as a StarCraft 2 pro. Kinda sounds like me playing the latter. Grasping defeat from the jaws of victory is something I've gotten very good at. Hatchery. Coming up? Nope, says Clem. He hates bugs. He likes killing bugs. Oh. Oh. Yeah, don't fight it, because he is gonna come back for more. Keep in mind that SCVs don't regenerate. SCVs actually have 45 health, whereas drones have only 45. Or, sorry, SCVs have 45, but the drones have 40. Blizzard! Blizzard! That's the reason why Oracles, for example, take 3 shots to kill an SCV, but 2 to kill a drone. Yeah. Probes, 20 health, 20 shields. It's only SCVs that for some reason have a couple more points. Does anybody know why? I don't know. It's alright. Well, obviously the Zerglings and the drones, everything here regens for the Zerg. The probes will be able to regenerate their shields. The Terrans, they can repair each other, but they do not automatically heal. Hellions, going across. We have a quick 1-1-1 again here from Clem. Very curious to see him playing 1-1-1 before 3rd Command Center. In almost... Has he gone 3rd Command Center before Starport at all in this series? Because I think of that as the normal build order for Clem. I almost think of that as the Clem build order. But... I mean, it's the gold standard in this matchup. Curious to see Clem mixing it up. Keep in mind that these two are qualified for the World Cup. There's a good a good chance that they may be playing a match for, I don't know, like 100,000 here, 100,000 there. When there's $1 million on the line, you might want to try and hide your strategies from your main competitors, but... I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see Clem, for example, playing in a series, in a tournament like this. Not surprised to see Dark. Dark, obviously somebody who doesn't really care so much about hiding his threats, because he's got so many of them that it's almost irrelevant. Either he's got so many or he's got none, depends on your point of view, but somebody like Clem, yeah, usually quite stock standard with their approach. This particular instance, though, he's doing builds that he normally doesn't go for as frequently. Liberator being annoying. I actually wonder who's more likely to win the World Cup, Dark or Clem. I would probably say Dark. Yeah, I would say Dark. Just because Dark is, you know, ridiculously good. At offline events in particular, he always seems to play a little bit better than other players. There's like a bunch of players out there that are... They power up at offline events, and Dark is one of them. Clem usually plays ever so slightly worse, at least historically. He's gotten much better at playing offline events over the years. But when you're playing a match for all the marbles, I do see Clem probably choking a little bit quicker than somebody like Dark. At least you never really get the vibe that Dark is nervous or worried about a match whatsoever. Last year, of course, it was Raynor who ended up winning Gamers 8. Gamers 8 has been rebranded this year to the Esports World Cup. Could be Raynor. Raynor's certainly somebody who can suddenly appear out of nowhere and be insanely good. Still feel like Dark. Other than obviously Serral, right? But I still feel like Dark has a pretty good shot. Maru also somebody who's insanely good. Although, I've got to be honest, like, whenever I see... I've obviously seen quite a few of Maru's games, right? And for example, the GSL. He's been very strong. But I don't really know if I love all of his decisions so much. Like, the maps are pretty solid for Terran across the board right now. But, especially in TVZ, sometimes his decisions are a little eh. I always kind of feel like Maru is, over the years, such a dominant player. Where he just always, whatever the situation, always seems to somehow be ahead. But he hasn't really had that aura in his gameplay over the last couple times I've seen him play. Anyways, I guess we'll find out. I'm pretty excited for it though. It's gonna be fun. And then Serral shows up and just wins everything. That's my prediction. Yeah, we can have all these discussions. And then Serral comes along. Anyways, nice little attack here across that mineral wall. Keep in mind that the Lings and the Banes cannot go across those mineral fields. One of the medevacs goes down though, and obviously the map design is in such a way that you cannot actually hit the hatchery with the siege tanks clutching against that mineral wall. But you can still be quite a nuisance. Zerg is gonna have to clean up on the other side. He hasn't mined out those mineral fields, and he's now paying the price for all of this. Ooh, alright. Big counterattack instead. That siege tank is going to deal quite a bit of friendly fire. Command center, no cancel. So that's actually really quite nice right there for the Zerg. No cancel on the CC is expensive for Clem at this point. 11 SCVs have gone down. Okay. Ultimately, the hatchery also falls, but at least Dark managed to get a bit of value out of all of it. And, oh, big mistake from Clem. Clem forgot making the armory. No armory means no 2-2. You need to wait now until that armory is done. His upgrades were already late, but the fact that he did not fire up 2-2 at the appropriate time is actually really, really bad here. Luckily, Dark is making 7 overlords at a time. He's hitting supply blocks, right? He's making little mistakes too, but you can't really recover from a upgrade loss very quickly, other than, well, when you arrive at 3-3 and you manage to even all of that up. At least Clem is going to be able to get another hatchery for his troubles. There's finally the armory finishing, but my god, that is at least a minute or so of delay on those upgrades. Probably more. Yep, there we finally go. Okay. Couple of Banelings and Zerglings trying to go in once again. Siege Tank has got 23 confirmed kills. They've put up a little bit of a safety railing over here for him. That way it can't fall down. Maybe it's like Sergeant Hammer in Heroes of the Storm, you know, where it's got that creeping ability where it can like move around while sieged up. Couple more Banes. We'll attempt once more, but I think, yeah, the Hellbats together with that Siege Tank are gonna have an easy time. Okay, so is Clem going to sit back at all? Because he knows he's behind. At this point, 2-2 is done for the Zerg player, who is ready to meet this Terran in the middle of the map. I find that a curious decision, to say the least. Dark was maybe hoping he's going to be able to get those lurkers in an easy position, or sorry, those Banelings into an easy position here. Okay, this is actually a pretty good fight though for Clem. Yeah, without Banelings and Zerglings to tank for all of this, the Hydras do fall pretty quickly. But you can really tell here that the Zerg is just better upgraded. Luckily for Clem, this is a delayed Hive. So this is Zerg very much so focused on Hydroling Bane for now. And that means that 3-3 is going to be delayed for the Zerg player too. That's by design. A little different than forgetting your Hive. That is something that Dark has chosen to do. But it means that Clem is going to have an easier time catching up in those upgrades. He won't be able to just, you know, slam the hammer down and go into a 3-3 timing attack long before the Zerg ever gets there. But I do think it's about time for Dark to go into a Hive here. Yeah. Thank you for making me look good. This little mineral wall, by the way, extremely nice for Clem. I'm a little surprised Dark has still not gotten rid of at least a couple of those minerals. Okay. Okay. So, here's 2-2 finishing. You are no longer stuck, by the way. That mineral field has been mined out ages ago. Anyways. Nice little snipes right there. Couple Overlords pretending to be Metavex, or Metavex pretending to be Overlords. Widowmine walk by. Good defense there as well by Dark. Alright, so where are we now at? Ultimately, the game is actually quite even. Dark has taken a lot of losses, but Clem's economy has never really been anything to write home about, plus his upgrades, like I've said about 17 times, are quite late. I'll shut up now about the upgrades, but he did go into the +3, which is good. As long as he gets them done eventually, all is, yeah, very good. So, the Lurker Den's now building. Hive is just about to finish up. One of the issues you can run into on this map is that the bases are quite far apart. Once the main base, the natural, the third and all that, right, are starting to run low, you have to be concentrating your army far away from the main. So, since both players have really committed, especially Clem, to the right side of the map, it's a good chance that Dark is going to be able to take this base right over here. It's much harder for Clem to take the opposite location on the map. He'll probably be opting for the bottom right-hand corner first. Maybe the middle. But this is an opportunity for Dark to take some of those difficult to mine bases right now. Command centers are building. Clem is trying to build up as many as he can afford. Since he's maxed out right now, we may as well make more command centers. So we can go for the... Right, that's the goal. Going into Liberators as well is really nice, but a difficult transition to make. Ambitious little drone. Not going to happen. Dang it, I made coffee and now it's going cold. I forgot about my coffee. Ooh. Coffee's very good. I got some new coffee beans recently. Oof. I don't want to flex with my coffee beans, but... It's better when it's a little warmer, though. Marine drop in the top left-hand corner is going to get cleaned up pretty easily. It's not dark roast, though. No, it's not Clem roast either. I think it's a medium roast is what it says on the site. I'm not exactly sure. Anyways. Command centers building left, right, and center. Yeah, this is that moment where Terrans become millionaires. They invest all of their minerals into infrastructure, right? They're investing it into Terran housing over here. They built their own satellites and they can ring them in from... yeah. Property prices are going up on Amphion as well. And Clem knows it, so he's investing here into the future. It's a good play overall. But also one that really slows down the game. If it's up to Dark, he doesn't want to play that slow of a game. He's going to go into the Nidus network. He's already got a cheeky little overlord just minding its own business. Don't mind me, just hanging out on the northern section of your main. Wouldn't worry about me at all if I were you. Okay, Clem is a little worried about it all.
Command center upgrade complete.
Command center upgrade complete. Oh, okay. You know what? We're not gonna go Nidus Worm. Puh. Well, we may also go Nidus Worm. But what we can also do is just this. We're gonna drop lurkers inside of, I guess... Oh, we're doing both. This is like him ringing the doorbell. Ding dong, Clem, I'm coming in. Bring your army, baby. Zerglings, Hydras, and Banelings in the bottom right-hand corner distracting a lot of the bio. And even though the Nidus Worm didn't quite finish yet, the lurkers have already arrived. I guess that's their trip back home. Yeah, that's their ferry back home or something. It's a bit confusing. I mean, it's a nice drop. It's a little annoying. Banelings. Oh, Clem sleeping on the job for just a little bit. The thing is, though, Clem has already got all that property, right? So he can easily replenish any lost structures. Yeah, if you're a Terran player, I recommend, if you want to get rich anyways, just make all those buildings. Yeah. It's a beautiful way to play. The only problem here, though, is that there's really not that many easy-to-mine mineral lines. So the bottom right-hand corner is the most obvious one, but it's... Yeah, even though this corridor looks quite defendable, usually Terrans seem to struggle in this section of the map quite a bit because it's just so far out. We have another Zergling drop this time around. Okay, we're going mass drops against Clem. It's a bold play and it seems to be working out. Command center in the bottom right-hand corner of the map in a little bit of trouble. Main base of the Terran is in a world of trouble as well. And Clem seems to have some difficulty here juggling all these balls. So he's been investing into command centers, right? He's been trying to turtle up at the front. And the front is well protected, but the right side flank is open. The main base is wide open. Dark has spotted a vulnerability right here in his opponent's infrastructure. And he's making great use of it. Because Clem has spent all those resources on command centers, but they haven't quite paid for themselves yet. So he actually doesn't have that much money in the bank. Do this exact sequence of events about a minute later, and another set of mules would show up. That would have made this significantly better for the Terran, but... Well, I say all of this. Currently, if you look at the supply count, there is a 50 supply deficit for the Zerg. How much? Yeah, we don't have larva. Okay, he doesn't have enough larva. So we are forced to slow this down a bit. Couple Zerglings burrowed. These can of course be used as well as spotter units to plant down another Nidus Worm. Zerglings together with Overlords. I really like the drops. Mass drop, mass Nidus is actually so good. We don't really see it being used very often, it seems, but... Couple Zerglings here as well joining in the fray. Ultimately though, Clem should be able to clean all of this up and still be fully maxed. And that's exactly the situation that we are in right now. But notice that he hasn't really been attacking the Zerg ever since he's been under pressure. So no medevacs going around anymore. Finally we get 5 Marines, 4 Marines and a Marauder going to the top right. But it does not really look like a very inspiring squad of units. That 9 o'clock expansion here as well. It's been mined by Dark for quite a while. Armory starts up again. Might be needed here in just a moment, although he does already have 3-3. Big Zerg push here at the front. Hydraling Bane. Whew, that was close for Clem. But he manages to run backwards and stim his units in time. Siege up the tanks. Still Zerglings inside of the main base. They've been going across this little mineral wall as he planted a Nidus Worm within that vision. Dark is gonna be one of the worst opponents to go up against. Ay, ay, ay. You know how like in boxing and like MMA, you very frequently have like the coach hitting their fighter in the face? I feel like Dark needs somebody like that, you know? Like pre-round, he needs somebody to hype him up and like make him get really focused. Because I feel like there are so many games where Dark falls unnecessarily behind in the earlier stages of the game, only for him to then bring it all back much later on. But it makes it so much more difficult than it really needs to be. Hard to not be a fan of this man, though, as it looks like he is starting to secure an advantage in this match. Whew! Alright. Another command center falls. 72 Zerglings on the production tab. Luckily for Clem, he's got more CCs to replace any of the ones he's lost, and he starts new ones once again. How many barracks do we still have? Just the 5, so he did lose a bunch. Normally you have a minimum of 8 at this point. Big fungal. Oh my god. Okay, let me just back off for just a second. Clem didn't see it, but neither did I. Actually, I didn't see it, and neither did Clem, is a better way to put it. Here we go. Jeez Louise. Luckily, the fungal growth doesn't deal that much damage anymore these days, but that could have been an absolute disaster. Medevac's running low, though. One more parabomb on them, and he is in a little bit of trouble, but luckily there is a squad of SCVs trying to repair all of this back up to full. Dark's gonna take the 3 o'clock base as well. Here's another Overlord drop. He's relentless with the Overlord drops. Overlord drops together with Nidus Worms. Huh. Normally those are either, you know, like you pick one of the two. It's either or, but in this particular instance, Dark's going for both. And you can see that Clem is really struggling against it. Ay, ay, ay. Another group of SCVs have gone down in the bottom right-hand corner. New barracks are currently building. Zerglings are still flooding around the map. Siege tank on the high ground, shooting at whatever it can. More burrowed lings in the corner of the main base. Has Clem realized it? Not quite. That means there's another potential for a Nidus Worm. This is one of those situations where Clem is no longer really in control of the timing of anything. He is trying to take down the flames, right? He is trying his very best to just run around and make sure that everything is gonna be okay. There's a Baneling burrow in the bottom right-hand corner, awaiting SCVs. Well, they're gonna unburrow as soon as I look away. I can almost guarantee it. Zergling drop once again in the main. Yep, indeed, as soon as I looked away. Oh, new mules! Oh, that's hot. That is Yeah. It's one of the questions I've actually received many times. Why don't we see Zerg players burrowing Banelings preemptively inside of a mineral line? Well, usually the circumstances just don't really make a lot of sense for that sort of play, but when you create so much chaos, you might be able to slip a couple of those Banes through the cracks. Those mules, that must have been like 5 mules minimum, if I'm being generous towards the Terran. That was a lot of potential mining down the drain. Obviously, this is still one of those situations where the only form of detection that Clem has is in the form of missile turrets and, well, fungal. Terrans will not be going for any sort of ravens. It is just not part of their game plan at all. But this is one of those scenarios, though, where the burrowed units from the Zerg have been annoying him left, right, and center. He's been missing so many of those burrowed Zerglings and Nidus Worms that he just doesn't realize that the Zerg is, well, able to just plant out another Nidus Worm, right? So right now, I think actually most of the aggression has been dealt with. Finally, Terran's going across the map again himself, but Clem's money, Clem's bank, has been completely depleted. He's got a ton of gas, but no real ability to make Marines. Nidus Worm over here is also blocking the creep here, or he's blocking the expansion rather with the creep. We could do a little bit of long distance mining, I guess, but that means that most of the mining for the Terran is going to be here in the middle, as well as in the bottom right-hand corner. And here comes Dark again. We have a couple of Dropper Lords still set up, so it seems like a lot of the units that have been put inside of the Dropper Lords, they have arrived through the Nidus Worm. Zergling burrowed in the bottom right-hand corner as well. Hatchery finally goes down, so at least Clem manages to get another point there, but... Resources lost. 14,000 minerals lost more for the Zerg. That's absurd. That's a lot of resources, but at the same time, Dark has been so far ahead over the last 10 minutes. His plan is to basically just push, 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 and never let go. He's trying to see if he can potentially suffocate the Terran player. More Niduses in the main base, more drops ready to arrive. Lurkers are here, Zerglings, Banelings, Hydras, we just send in whatever we can. Dark's playing a very fast game. Command center very far forward. No real turtling up over here at the front, and that means that this command center has to lift off once again. I love this playstyle so much, though. Like, this is the... If you think of, like, the science fiction fantasy of Terran versus Zerg, right? What the writers for the game at some point in time had in mind, it's exactly this. Just relentless amounts of Zerg going up against a desperate group of Terrans. And I think this time around, yep, it's going home in favor of Dark. Wow. So after being 2-0 behind against Clem earlier on in this series, he starts the comeback by winning on Dynasty, which is just a terrible map for Zerg versus Terran. He evens it up when the Reaper cheese of Clem goes wrong in the 4th game, and then he wins on Amphion as well. What a banger of a series. That was really good. Whew.